Hello and welcome back to the Genesis Designs and Monocraft bench, and out here I've got an expensive one, and right out the gate the first thing I need to say is a big thank you to Nick Brown, a friend who actually purchased this kit himself, and he lent it to me so that I could do a review on it to offer out to you guys. He got it from Hannants and he got it slightly cheaper than usual because, horror of horrors, the box is damaged. Always worth a look on the reduced items section. The tabs along the top of the Hannants page, there's a section for special offers, and you do sometimes find little gems in there at quite good prices. So what this is the Clear Prop Mig-23. This is the Flogger G, and this is the Expert set. And when these came out, I was quite interested in one. I built a Flogger when I was a lot younger than I am today, using the old Hasegawa kit, and I remember enjoying painting the fiddly camouflage on it. And I do think they're a sort of brutishly charming looking thing. So I was quite interested right up until the point where I saw the price. So this kit is over £47 on Hannants. Just let that sink in. £47 for a 1/72 jet kit. Yeah, okay. Without further ado then, let's have a look. This is the box, made in Ukraine in typical Ukrainian style. You just get a flimsy tray type lid that covers up a sturdy cardboard box. And also, seemingly in typical Ukrainian style, the parts don't really fill that box. You could literally have almost a half as big box, but let's not get into box reviewing. I'm sure there are other channels for that. So, what we have here is two quite well packed packets of sprues, parts. I'll randomly start with this one. They both have labels on the back saying which is which. And peely sticky bags. So let's get these out and see what we can see. I'll start with sprue A. An immediate impression is, oh my goodness, look at this. So, the moulding is reminiscent of sword and Special Hobby, MPM, that sort of moulding. And I do not mean that as an insult. I think I said that in a previous video and somebody thought I was being insulting. I'm not. What I mean by that, it's the sort of the style of the moulding and the smoothness of the parts and the very, very light sort of edge flash that you see on those parts, because ultimately they're of a limited run nature. It's not an insult. I actually think sword kits are very underrated. Yeah, it's got that feel to it, but the rendition of all the details on this thing is just absolutely beautiful. The other immediate impression is that is some parts breakdown. This is obviously a fuselage top, sides of the nose which clearly have a separate lower insert and upper insert. I think these are probably wheel bays, but simple detail but quite effective given the scale. And this is sprue A. I wonder if they've packed them in order. Kind of thing only the gens of this world would do. No, this is F. That initial impression is continuing. Lots and lots of detailed parts. I'm not going to try and make out I know what all this stuff is. Obviously some of it, but lots of little areas of detail which to my eye look like these were probably modelled by hand, like scratch built and then scanned. Compressor face in the inlet guide vane is really lovely. All moulded in one. Some of these detail areas. Multi-part undercarriage legs. Part of the jet nozzle there. Here we have the wings, molded in one piece. Very nice. Again, super nicely moulded, lovely, lovely detail. And yeah, just let you look for yourself. Yourselves. It's not completely festooned with rivets, but there's just enough there for visual interest. And they're also insanely fine, so if you put too much paint on this, if you start priming this and rubbing it down, you're going to lose a lot of this detail if you're not careful. Not the panel lines, but the rivets. Here we've got the fin in two parts. This sprue doesn't appear to have an identifier. It contains a lot of pylons and what I think is the sides of the intakes plus the tip of the fin. And again, that clean moulding is very, very obvious. Final one for this pack. Oh, here we go. Top of the fuselage, some drop tanks and some intake parts. Look at this, wow. Now immediately upon looking at something like this, you can see why they've split the fuselage the way they have, essentially into 4 parts rather than the traditional 2, because it allows this kind of level of detailing along this upper surface, which simply wouldn't be possible if the parts are moulded in 2 halves. It is completely gorgeous throughout. So that's the first pack of sprues looked at. Second bag then. Let's see what we have in here. This one starts with a B sprue. Here you can see the sides of the fuselage and some fuel tanks, basically. I suspect that's the right way up. More of the same. Absolutely lovely. The surface detail and the way it's done is gorgeous everywhere. This is 2 the same. These sprues are duplicated, and these are weapons, and this raises a point with cost. Clear Prop supply this kit in a couple of different versions, and there is a cheaper option that you can buy, but it doesn't include weapons. I believe I'm correct in saying, because you can buy the weapons separately as well. I've got no clue what any of these are. I'm not a weapon expert at the best of times, but these are Russian, so they mean absolutely nothing to me. So I'll just show you what you get there. Variety of missiles and rockets, it would appear. We have 2 other sprues, and these are just more parts for the actual aircraft, undercarriage doors and such on here. Some tyres and things. And same again with this last one. Sprue E, with a cockpit coaming, the top of the wing gloves, intake parts, and some pylons and some small detail parts, and an injection moulded pitot that almost looks usable as well. So that covers the plastic sprues, and here we have some canopies. Ziploc bag, separate. And clearly you have here an open option and a closed option. The framing is raised, but it's not excessive, and these are perfectly decent. There we go. So that's the sprue packs. Quite impressive. Quite an impressive amount of parts here. Whether or not that's a good thing is a very personal thing. There's a lot going on for a 72nd scale model. And why is my logo completely out of focus? So what else do we get in the box then? Let's see. A very healthy instruction booklet by the looks of it. Stencil diagrams, a little advert, an accessory pack. So let's look at the accessory pack first. Bags within bags here. Obviously we have some decals. Main markings. Multitude of stencils. Another multitude of stencils. And some more multitudinous stencils, but these are pylons and external stores. Missiles and... my goodness me. Okay. Just look at that. Pylons and stores, missiles and pods. Remember, this is 1/72, guys. Oh wow. Are these repeated? They're printed by Decalgraph, the same company that all the Ukrainian manufacturers use. Decograph, yeah, printed in Ukraine. And these are really, really good decals. They're very, very thin. And they have the tapered edges on the carrier film. They're not peelable like Edward, but like Edward decals, they have that tapered edge to them. So the backing film, probably on first glance, looks like it might be slightly bigger than it needs to be, but in actuality, it blends into the surface of the kit better because of it. Yeah, these are the same. And then the main markings, including canopy seals in sort of a peachy pink colour. Quite a variation of markings there, and there's also some sort of panel detail ones here. Instrument panel and cockpit. Yeah, these are lovely. All bases covered, I think. And then here we have a packet of photo etch. There's a nice stout piece of card in there to protect them. We've got two sheets. This one is basically fins, probably for the weapons. And then this one's got a bunch of things on it. I can't pick it up. Seat harness, instrument panel, as afterburner parts, potentially airframe and pylon parts, aerials, an aerial base. There's all sorts on here, and it's all very, very fine, small. If you're not a fan of photo etch, look away now. I can't see any information on there as to who's made these, but the other Ukrainian kits I've looked at lately seem to use metallic details for their photo etch stuff. Very, very nice. As I say, there's an advertising leaflet there. It's got a few other kits that are available from Clearprop, DH9, UAV, a couple of different sorts of floggers. It's got a shark and a mohawk. I have never yet built, I don't even own a Clearprop kit, not yet. Well, it looks to me like it's probably an in-scale stencil placement diagram. There are two. This one for the MLAE-2 Flogger G. Oh, they both are. Okay, have we got two the same then? No, because this is for MLA, MLD, MLAE and P stencils, whereas this is just for MLAE and MLAE-2, and I have no clue what that relates to. I'm not even going to try and pretend. Variants. And then there's your side. There's a few. There's a few. Yeah, that's going to take a minute. Finally then, the actual instruction booklet. And one that all pretty much fits under the camera, just for a change. So what we've got here, we've got a little bit of data, replication of the box top, a little bit of data, legend. So the different logos they use throughout the build shows you there what they mean. Colour callouts are either Mr. Colour or Ammo of Mig down here. Slide up. There. Parts layouts. There's going to be a couple of pages worth showing you what not to use. Decal sheets. I don't think I've ever seen so many decals in a 1/72 kit. Variants of assembly. So essentially you can go fully swept or not. You've got air brakes that are open or closed, you've got weapons or not, and you've got an open or closed canopy option. And then into construction. Instrument panel first, just built up from a plethora of photo etch and decals and painting. Goodness me, look at that. Moving on to the seat. Insides of the fuselage for the cockpit area. Then bringing those two nose halves together around that and fitting splitter plates and intake parts directly to the nose. Building up of a bay just there, don't know what for, presumably the nose wheel bay. And then the main wheel bays and the intake, oh that's the exhaust trunking. So the bit I said was the guide vane and compressor face is actually the turbine. My bad. These are the flame holders for the afterburners built up there. Sits in the middle of the exhaust. Those parts then trap in between the rest of the fuselage parts. So this is going to be an interesting thing to put together. It's probably going to be easiest to build it up using the base of the fuselage as a spine. Then add the lid, then add the wings in either position, and then the wing gloves underneath and the seals. Pop the rest of the intakes on. Still can hear about opening slots for things, building up that huge great fin, and then adding exhaust parts and what have you. Then we move on to building the undercarriage and the wheels. Quite a lot to that. There's a diagram there showing the correct position of the gear in the doors. That's a nice touch and something that too many manufacturers don't bother with. photo etched aerials, some of which need to be bent. There's even photo etch for the pitot probe. One of them. The incorrect position of the nose antennas, it does droop down some. When we get into pylons, fuel tanks, air brakes with photo etched hinges. Wonderful. And then the armament. So what we've got here is missiles R23, R24, R13, R60, and then a Delta NG. I'm going to assume that that's some kind of pod, and a KH-23, and the obligatory where to fit and in which combination. With all of that done, then we're moving on to the supplied decal colour scheme variants. So the first one, number one, is USSR 1987. Sand brown and green over a blue-grey colour. Then we've got Syrian Air Force, September 89. Which again is sand brown and green over a blue-grey. Next up, a captured one. Captured Syrian, I assume. Let me just... yeah. Captured Syrian with extra markings for the Israeli Air Force in 1989 also, so same scheme again. Number 4, Libyan Air Force in 2007. Dark yellow, light brown and green, again over a paler blue-grey colour. And colours and decal placements for all those weapons and pylons. Good lord. What a kit. So, £47. Is that too much? I don't know. It's a judgment call, isn't it? It's not one I can make for you. It's too much for me. Come on, camera. Play the game. Slowly, slowly. There we go. It's too much for me. I can see, looking at this, that this could be an epic build. Incredibly detailed for the scale. The finesse level is very, very good. But the price, yeah. ClearProp do offer various parts as well as sort of accessories and detail upgrades in the same way that Edward do. Just quickly, the weapons, there's a weapons set which is £15.99. Masks for £5.40. We don't have masks in this kit. Whether you really need them for the simple canopy. Yeah. Masks £5.40. Wheels £5.80. Exhaust £7.10. An ejection seat for £5.40. And a stencil set for £8.70. So if you bought the basic version, you could get all of the bits to upgrade it, but I suspect it would cost more than the £47 that you paid for the whole lot. It is expensive. It looks to be a premium product. I don't know. I'm not going to get to build this one. This is Nick's kit. I've not seen one built, so I can't say how it goes together, how well or otherwise it goes together. But there are some photographs on ClearProp's website of a test model that they put together in bare plastic that are available to look at. But it does look pretty epic. So if you're a lover of Soviet era fighters, the Mig-23 and hugely detailed fiddly model kits and photo etch, this is probably a must-have. I can't bring myself to spend that much on a 72nd jet, no matter what, I'm afraid. But it's useful to have the review, I think, and I hope it's helpful for some of you. So with all that said, thanks again to Nick Brown. It was hugely generous of him to lend me this kit and let me open all the packets and look at everything. But it will go back to him safely, as you can see. You never know I've been in there. Don't tell him, alright? Okay, yeah, sorry. With all of that said, it only remains for me to say, look after yourselves, look after each other, and Genesis out.